We're making homemade biscuits today the right way, folks. I practically grew up on these things. My mom used to make homemade biscuits nearly every weekend, and it was a staple at our house. Always got to give credit where credit is due. It all started with her. Thanks a lot, Mom. Directions both ways and different recipes on whether to use all-purpose flour or self-rising flour. For this recipe, I am using baking powder, so I went with all-purpose flour. That's what I normally have in my cabinet anyway. So we are going to get the baking powder out, and we are going in with 5 teaspoons of baking powder. This is going to help the biscuits rise quite a bit with the all-purpose flour, so definitely need that. Then we're going with baking soda, and this is a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. We're also going to add I believe it was a teaspoon of salt. We'll get that put in there. And then some sugar. Looking back, I probably should have added a little bit more sugar, but I just did a pinch, but probably need close to a tablespoon of sugar in there. We want to get our dry ingredients mixed up and incorporated all well. I'm just using a whisk, getting it all together here. And then we're going to, this is butter that I had frozen, 6 tablespoons. I cut it up into small pieces as much as I could there. I don't have one of those little fancy cutter things, but you want to cut the butter into the flour, and I'm using just like this meat smasher gadget, and it worked pretty darn good. So once you get that cut up, we're going in with the whole milk. I'm using whole milk. You could also use buttermilk. I imagine buttermilk would really make the biscuits taste better, but I never buy buttermilk, and I just always have whole milk on hand, so that's what we're using. So I'm using my little fancy girly spatula here, and I'm getting it off the sides of the bowl, and I want to get it all kind of incorporated. It's going to look like a crumbled mess, and that's okay. Trust the process, guys. Get your flour down on your clean countertop and some flour on your hands so it doesn't stick. And when you want to put the dough out on the counter, and I'm just going to kind of smush this together. We don't want to overwork this, and I'm not going to roll it. So I kind of want to push it into a nice rectangle, and we're going to fold it like a letter, just like I did there. And we're going to do that 3 times total. That was once. Here comes number 2. We're going to fold that over, press it down, knead it down a little bit, and our 3rd time. We're only doing it 3 times. I want to be clear, 3 times. Do not overwork the dough. Get it pushed down here, and again, I'm trying to get into a nice rectangle. I don't want it too thin, so probably a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. And I got my little fancy cup here that I'm using to cut the biscuits, and look at that. Nice little perfect biscuit. Really like how this is looking so far. And really, ideally, I wish I could have got 8 biscuits out of this, but I ended up getting 7. We're going to rework the dough again to get as many as we can. I was able to get a couple more biscuits out of this, and then 1 additional one, and then 1 oddball guy, because you guys know I do not like things just going to waste. I guess I could have made 1 extra big biscuit, but we went with an oddball guy, so there you go. Bam, thank you, ma'am. Look at that. Yeah, I know that middle one looks a little weird, but gosh darn it. I mean, look at that. Really nice looking biscuit. Golden brown top and bottom. Check this out. Holy cow. All right, calm down. That's enough. Yeah, but I cracked those things open. I mean, they have a nice little crust on the outside, but soft and fluffy and hot in the middle. Of course, we got to pair it with the homemade sausage gravy. Made fresh biscuits without homemade sausage gravy. You got to do it. Homemade biscuits and sausage gravy. Cheers. Yeah, it's good. I know I didn't look too excited there, but holy cow. I was very happy with the way those biscuits turned out, guys. You got to give it a try. It's so easy. It's definitely worth the time.